Welcome to the Thunderdome. We are here to fight with. No, I'm kidding. Welcome in to another episode here. We have a very special guest. It's Big Game Boomer from Twitter, which I feel like it sounds weird saying. Like I'm looking at your face and I'm calling you your nickname, which feels very odd to me. Like it's like you're my favorite wrestler or something like that. So I'm so happy to be here for Monday Night Raw. We appreciate you signing autographs. But yeah, and how are you doing? Welcome in.
Doing good. Thanks for having me on, guys. Doing good.
Yeah, no problem. We were interested to get you on here because you create, I don't think purposely, or maybe purposely, I don't know, but you've been creating quite the stir on Twitter over the last couple of years. I've noticed. Chris and I both follow you. We follow you from the podcast account, and so I know you know this isn't your main gig, but when did you start covering college football?
So I did not use Twitter at all until I want to say November of 2020. Like back when.
Shut the fuck up.
Seriously. Yeah. Seriously.
That's awesome.
So like I didn't use Twitter. Like it says I've had my account since like 2012 or something. That's just when I created my account and never used it at all, really. But like during COVID, I was taking the week of Thanksgiving off and was just so bored at home. There's nothing to do. And so I just got on my phone and got on Twitter and just saw all these, you go to like ESPN's page or some other pages and like you just see college football fans just arguing at each other, going crazy.
Yeah, and right after the election too. That was like a miserable time in this, like in social media.
Exactly. Yeah. So you go on there and I start just kind of arguing with other fans. And before I know it, like I'm like tweeting at Desmond Howard and he's like tweeting back at me, like saying, you don't know what the heck you're talking about when it comes to Michigan. Like Harbaugh's got this thing going. He's got this thing turned around. And so it was just, I was like, this is really cool how you can kind of engage with like famous people kind of on here. And so that was November of 2020. And I had like 50 followers at that time. Wasn't on Instagram or anything. And just once the season was over, I had the idea to start cranking out these lists for rankings, and they just kind of took off.
So this is the least important question, but as somebody that does graphic design and has just horrific ADD, so like when I sit down and make like a graphic, like Tyler laughs at it because like and my boss like, he's like, how much time did you spend on this graphic? I'm like, oh, like a couple hours, and it's like 8 because I'm like just maneuvering like the smallest thing. It's like very unimportant.
Yeah.
How long does it take you to make these damn graphics?
It really depends. When we're ranking players and coaches, it takes me a while to do those. Yeah. I'll work on those like a couple hours in the evenings. And, but when we get to like loudest stadiums and other stuff like that, I've got a bunch of templates kind of put together now where it does not take me much time at all. Yeah. So it really just depends on the list or ranking or whatever.
It's a better operating system than what I continue to do. But no, I mean, like it's so like Tyler, he kind of nailed it. Like everybody, I mean, you've kind of like blown up obviously, and it's become a whole thing. And it's really cool to watch. So like, I know you through a Bama Twitter, Courtney Ann. And I've talked to her a little bit. She's like, he's like the nicest guy. And I was like, I don't doubt that he is. My question is, how the fuck do you make a top 50 punters list? Because I couldn't even imagine taking the time out to do that. Like, how do you even start going into that?
You just look, you look at stats, and I started doing this last year. So I looked at my top 50 punters from at the end of last season. You look at the guys returning, guys that have transferred, stats, where people find them in the NFL draft, taking it all.
I meant like all time, like your all time list that you've been doing.
Yeah, but it's funny. Like I'll do a list like before, like let's say like 24/7 or ESPN and then like you'll see like a week or so later, it'll be pretty close to like what I did.
Yep.
And you're like, I wonder if there's like an intern or something at these companies kind of following me and kind of just.
You wonder?
Seeing what I put on.
It's definitely happened. So it's like, Tyler always laughs at me because like, I'll be like, I'll just send him a text and he'll try like when he's at church or like with his like family, this kid's under 4. And I'm like, this mother, like, he's like, what? And I'm like, somebody stole our content again. But it's kind of a tribute to you about how like it's so creative and unique that it's cool to see it like take off. Because I tell you what, the one thing I've always known about like in this business, especially when you make lists or rank anything, it's one of the least satisfying things to ever do. Cause like, I always take it too seriously. I try to like do my research so I know what I'm talking about. And then you like the moment I put it up on like SDS Instagram, it's like the first thing, it's like an Auburn guy's like, fuck you. Bo Nix is gonna win the Heisman this year.
Those are the best replies.
Yeah.
That's what I like to see. Like me and my wife, like in the evenings, man, we'll just like sit back, have a glass of wine, and just kind of scroll through the comments of the day. And we're like, this guy said what? about a punter or about the tailgating in Baton Rouge? Like,
right.
So I know most people know you from your list that you put out, but I noticed that you also do other content around college football. So do you want to tell kind of our listeners what you're doing outside of the list that you put out on Twitter?
Yeah. So I mean, I do have a podcast that I've kind of started out. I've got like 14 episodes. I've just kind of been having players and guests. I've had like some pretty big name coaches, like I had Shane Beamer on, and some players. And once we get close to the season, I'm going to start kind of doing I guess maybe multi-weekly or podcast, something like that, just because it's fun. The podcast is a lot more work than Twitter and Instagram. It's hard to build a following on there, for sure.
It's easy to show your feet.
Yeah, it's so much easier. But it's called the Big Game Boomer Show on YouTube. So if you want to check out some college football stuff, I mean, I should have some good interviews and stuff coming up. So
yeah. Did you go to Oklahoma, or are you just a fan?
I did.
Okay,
I did. I went to OU, graduated from there. So I'm not a bandwagon OU guy. There's a bunch of like OSU stuff around here because my wife went to OSU. That's not
which
mine.
OSU? Oklahoma State.
Oklahoma State. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's I'm a Sooner.
What do you think about the Venables hire?
I think it was good, but like I've told to a lot of people, I think how many coordinators have we seen that you think before they take a job, it's like this guy when he's a head coach, he's just going to nail it, and then they get the head coaching job, and it's like boom, they just fail flat on their face. Will Muschamp is a great example of that. A guy that was at Texas. Yeah, exactly. So is Brent Venables going to be like that, like a Will Muschamp, or is he going to be like a Kirby Smart type of guy where, he hops from Alabama to Georgia and just takes it running and just won a national championship. So he's doing all the right things, but, I'm not going to judge or grade until I see the results on the field.
That's a good point though about the Dabo things. Like they lay out the blueprint and like, or like the Kirby and Saban thing versus Venables and Dabo, because like Saban is so meticulous and he has the whole process thing and everything is so structured and organized. And they do like, you have to have some sort of system. And I feel like that thing's after a while is like clockwork, probably if you've been in the program for a while. And I know that they're two very different coaches. Like Dabo's like the only coach that's like, I don't believe in the transfer portal or science. So that's where I'm at in life.
I'm gonna burn him.
Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, like I'm skeptical only because he's like defensive coaches, like you said, like Kirby's had a lot of success, but he also was a fantastic recruiter. That Muschamp thing is like, it's hard to get past that.
Yeah. That and Charlie Strong, like thought he was going to do a great job as a head coach, just flopped at Texas. I mean, you just never really know. You don't with coordinators.
So I want to get back to the list because I feel like lists are one of those things that make people very angry or very happy. So what's the angriest that someone has been with you on Twitter? Like, what was the interaction like?
Oof, man. God, I get some nasty DMs. I mean, I'm talking, pretty nasty stuff. Usually like when I talk about like stadiums or when I talk about like the actual school or ranked campuses, those fans just kind of go after me. And it's the SEC fan bases.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Yeah, and primarily, I'd say Arkansas is maybe the most like hostile Twitter fan base.
People say that. I had that experience.
You're an Arkansas guy, aren't you?
No. So I'm a Bama guy, but like I've said stuff like about Arkansas. I've said like nothing but positive things about Arkansas for years. Like, and there was something we did earlier this year where we did a video. It was like Arkansas has the best athletic or the best program, like from every single, I don't want to say the whole athletic department, but like football, basketball, baseball. that's the school you most want to be a fan of right now. Like they have like everything going for them. Like just went on and on about how great they were. The next day, I said something about Traylon Burks pushing off in the Alabama game, and that's what led to a long touchdown. And these people lost their fucking minds. And I remember somebody even said, she was like, "That's what happens when you come after one of our own." I'm like, lady, you're not related to him at all. This is so weird. Like, you live in Arizona. Like, oh man,
they're crazy, man. The Arkansas fans are absolutely crazy. I think it's because they have some sort of like chip on their shoulder, some sort of insecurity complex. They just, I don't know. It just seems like they're always mad at the world. And I remember like last week I posted a graphic that was like schools that have more wins than Arkansas over the last like 5 years, and it was like, I think it was like 90 schools or something. Right. I mean, it was basically everyone, and they just oh man, they're just so mad. It is just hilarious.
You had to know they're gonna be mad about that though.
Yeah. That's funny. I've heard that from multiple people though about like, I mean, because like my thing is like there was a time 2 or 3 years ago where I said something on Twitter and some Tennessee fan twisted it into like the worst thing possible. I was like, what? And then next thing I know, like I get back on Twitter and there's like Vol Twitter has just started trying to get me fired. And what I always tell like this story because it's funny because the fact that like I'm the engagement editor at Saturday Down South. So I am the one like being in contact with these people. Yeah. So they started DMing us on every platform, like on Facebook, on Instagram, on Twitter, but they were just DMing me. And I was like, oh my gosh, this has happened. I'm so sorry. We'll get right on that. Like, it's just fans are, we joked about this before you came on about how we weren't going to talk sports. We're just going to do politics because that always goes over so well. I feel like sometimes arguing college football is like people get more offended.
Oh yeah.
Easier than that. It's crazy to me.
Yeah. No doubt.
So following up on this, and I don't know if you want to relinquish this information or if it's like something you want to keep behind the veil, but like how many stadiums have you been to? Because like that's like the first thing I noticed, I remember you did something about like the best pizza place in Power 5 places. And I was like, man, he eats a lot of pizza. That's so much pizza. And then I was like, trying to figure out how many SEC stadiums and how many total stadiums have you been to?
Let's see. I mean, so no, I have not been to every single stadium. I have a huge network of fans, I guess, people that I guess friends that I know I've met through social media. So we kind of always kind of go back and forth talking about stuff. So, I mean, like in the Southeast, I've been to Clemson, South Carolina, Georgia. I've driven through Birmingham, Tuscaloosa.
Beautiful this time of year, huh?
Yeah, I like Auburn better.
I mean, Tuscaloosa sucks.
But I've been on the Florida State.
Nice.
Trying to just think. And then
did you go to that Florida State Oklahoma game back in like 2010?
No, I did not. So I actually grew up a Clemson fan. I'm from Atlanta.
Oh, wow. That's where we are.
Yeah. Oh, really? Oh, nice. Yeah. So I grew up in Atlanta, and so I grew up a Clemson fan until I decided to go to OU for college, and ever since then I've been an OU fan.
That's cool.
But no, to answer your question, I have not been to every single college campus. I'd like to. I think eventually I will. Yeah. But no. So I just get a lot of people's opinions and put them onto a graphic, and you guys see them. They just blow up every time I post them.
I mean, I've never been to Starkville or Corvallis, but I can tell you both, they probably fucking suck. So it's like you don't have to go to every place. Like,
Exactly. Yeah. People give me that's what. Like I remember I was on with like Greg McElroy and Cole Kublik, and he was like, Greg was giving me a hard time. He's like, how can you not, how can you rank these things if you've never been to either school? And I was like, I wanted to say to him like, well, Greg, I've driven through Tuscaloosa, and I can tell you it's a lot better than it's surely not as bad or as great as Auburn, something like that. Just because it's, I mean, you just get. I mean, there's no right answer.
Right.
So
that's the best part about it. That's what creates all the content, man.
Yeah, exactly. It's a debate, and it's fun to talk about. I'd rather be arguing about this, other stuff.
Before Chris gets into his game that he likes to play at the end of every interview,
Russian roulette.
Who is the most high-profile person that has retweeted your content, or someone who you thought was like, man, that's pretty cool?
God. I don't know. Lane Kiffin routinely retweets a lot of stuff that I put out there. Big fan of Kiffin. Shane Beamer. I mean, I can't even keep track of it. Like I tweeted last week, like the top 50 best dressed head coaches in college football.
Yeah.
And like I saw the governor of like Michigan retweeted it and was like, we've got 2 coaches in the top 10. and you should have seen the replies to that tweet. They're like, you need to be worrying about what's going on in the state. Not worried about what coaches are dressed wearing to football games.
That's funny. That's good. I also love the fact that Kirby didn't make the top 50. So Georgia fans, just want to let you know that you guys aren't great at everything. So there's that.
He's got to get a haircut first.
Well, then he doesn't give himself. And then,
then we can look at the wardrobe.
All right, well, let's get into a little bit of rapid fire. I messaged you about this earlier because I wanted you to be prepared for one of the questions because it's a very serious topic, but we're going to save that for the end.
Yeah.
All right, so you do listen rankings. You don't have to do a full list, but I want to know at least who your number one is for these, and you give me a top 3 if you want to. So, again, very serious, and we appreciate you coming on. But let's focus up a little bit, okay? First one, hottest Disney princess. Go.
I don't even know who are the Disney princesses. I don't even know who they are. What, Cinderella? Or
no, she's too basic. It's like Jasmine. I mean, Jasmine's basically Kim Kardashian.
I guess you can go with Jasmine. Yeah. I'm not a Disney. I can't. There's not one princess that really I can think of.
All right, that's the end of the show. So appreciate that. Okay, favorite rank the holidays. Best holiday.
Best holiday is Thanksgiving.
Okay. Wow. If you said Arbor Day, I really would have turned this off for sure. Okay, best beers. And I mean like beers like not ranking like the actual types of like the brands, but like shower beer, after cutting the grass beer, being at a game beer. What's the best type of beer? Definitely
tailgating beer. When you're tailgating with all your fans, tailgating, there's nothing better.
Fair enough. Is that you, Tyler?
Did you hear that? That's my son in the background.
Well, show him some Disney movies, BGB.
He's watching the Auburn beat Oregon State right now in baseball.
Yes. Very invested into that game for a lot of reasons. Okay, this is good. I think Tyler put this in here. Meanest fan base on Twitter and nicest fan base on Twitter.
So meanest, I answered Arkansas. Hands down to win that. Nicest, it depends because I've had multiple. I get fan bases mad at me all the time, and then they're really happy with me. I got to say, gosh, friendly. I mean, Texas A&M, I give them a hard time, but their fans are pretty nice.
They're so nice.
Yeah,
they're delusional as shit, but they're so incredibly nice.
Yeah.
They used to be Clemson until they had their little nice run of success, and then they got a little too cocky.
Yeah, I'm not. Yeah, Clemson. No. Not very.
I feel like people that don't like follow ACC football or Clemson like really don't understand how true that statement was from y'all because like I went to Clemson. I used to have a buddy of mine take me to one game a season. It's the best experience I've ever had, like game day wise. It's the best game day experience I've ever been to. In the stadium was awesome, and I got to go to like the Lamar Jackson, Deshaun Watson game. So there were some big moments, but the moment I went to all the games before they won the national championship, and afterwards, my God, they were different people.
That's why I give them such a hard time. Because I grew up a fan when they were not good in the early 2000s, where you went to a game and you didn't know if they were going to win or not. And the crowd was just crazy every time. Now it's like you go to a game and there's like 3/4 of the stadium there.
Right.
So,
okay, we got 2 more here.
All right.
The first one is, what's a dream matchup for you? Like what game, whether it's a rivalry I don't mean a bowl game, but like for me, I would love to go to like the Red River Shootout, right? And see Texas A&M. I've never been to that. What's a rivalry game or a game you haven't been to that you would like to you most want to see?
I'd really like to go to the Iron Bowl or the Egg Bowl on Thanksgiving. I hear those guys just hate each other.
Like Bama Auburn fans like hate each other, but like Mississippi and Mississippi State fans really fucking hate each other.
Yeah, they do.
Really hate each other. All right, last but not least, this is the most football content we're going to get into. It's a very important question. I need you to rank, and I mean from like top to bottom, not just one. I need you to rank the Fast and Furious movies.
So, when you sent that, so I've only seen 3 of them. I've only seen 3 of them. So I'm telling you, man, I watch sports all the time. I just never, I don't know, I never really watched them. So I got to say, like, the Too Fast, Too Furious, I know that one gets a lot of hate, but that's my favorite just because, like, I was a Ludacris fan growing up. So seeing him in the movie was pretty cool. And then the first one I like just because it's the first one and it's
right.
Got Vin when they like jumped the railroad track or something, or in that black car. It's been forever since I've seen it. And then the Tokyo Drift movie was pretty good as well. But those are the only 3 I've seen. So
you haven't seen a Fast and Furious movie since 2005, which is, like, in hindsight, I wish I didn't bring up Fast and Furious and Disney princesses so much, but because that's more of a me thing than a you thing. I'll tell you what, let's do one more, because Tyler and I, the best answer, it was also the worst answer we've ever gotten on the show. We had Kirk Herbstreit on last year, and it was great until the very end. Then I was like, hey, bucket list concert, go. And he was like, Luke Bryan, probably. And I was like, what? What are you saying? So give me bucket list concert, and we'll wrap up.
I guess Eric Church. I like Eric Church.
That's a good answer. I like that.
Yeah.
Eric
Church. I've seen him before. He's good.
Well, this has been great, dude. You are. I heard like just nothing but good things, like I said, and that's all very, very true. So tell everyone where they can find you, and we'll have to have you on again soon. Yeah, for sure, man. I appreciate you guys having me on. You can just find me on Twitter or Instagram at Big Game Boomer, or on YouTube, Big Game Boomer Show. So cool. Always cranking out content. All right, y'all. Well, we will talk to you again soon. All right.